Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of our La Liga career mode here with Sevilla. We are returning today after a crazy episode last time out which saw us lift the Super Cup, beating Barcelona on penalties. We then were knocked out of the Copa del Rey a few days later, also on spot kicks to Barcelona, and it felt like every game we played was against either they or Real Madrid. It was a crazy episode. If you haven't seen it, definitely go and check it out. And today we're going to be wrapping up the Champions League phase, as well as playing more big games in the league as we look to extend our gap at the top. One more win in the Champions League should be enough to see us qualify in a top 8 place, and that will of course see us bypass the playoffs. So we'll play up to the first leg of the round of 16 today, so lots of games to come, and we kick off with match day 7 against Liverpool, who are currently top of the league phase, 5 wins and a draw from their 6 games, whilst I'm hoping that a win should be enough to confirm a top 8 place. Vamos Sevilla. Yeah, I'd love to get the win that we need to pretty much secure a top 8 finish. Oh, what a ball through the leg. Strike comes in. Liverpool lead. And it's a wonderful hit by Brian Mbeumo, who's lining up for Liverpool. Well, he's moved to a different club that play in red in real life, as he will be joining Manchester United. But what a strike from the former Brentford man. It's a wonderful assist through the legs, and Liverpool take an early lead. Couto down this right flank up against Milos Kerkez, who of course has moved to Liverpool in real life. Here's a Roz and Isaac Romero, first shot on goal, and it's our equalising goal as Romero, who hasn't scored a huge amount this season, I'll tell you what, he's a quality backup striker. He often does the job when called upon, and in this competition he's played most of the games in the league phase, and he gets on the score sheet once again. 1-1. Well, second half underway here, still deadlocked at 1 apiece. I'd say Liverpool have probably been the better team and have looked most likely. Other than that chance and goal for Romero, we haven't really created anything. And right on cue, and Mbeumo 2-1. Wonderful goal, and I tell you what, he has been a right handful today as Liverpool's new number 11 gets his second of the night and puts them back in front. Couto finds a Roz. Oh, it's brilliant football. Agume straight at the keeper, and Agume will put in the rebound, and well, straight from kickoff we're back level at 2 apiece. This is turning into another crazy game. Well, it looks as if we are going to have to settle for a point here. Decent result, but is it enough to see us through in the top 8? I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see as we get back to the menu how the other teams got on. Well, as we get back to the menu, we see that Fresneda's gone down with a broken elbow, which is going to keep him out for the next 2 months. He should be back for most of the Champions League playoffs, although he might miss some of the last 16. But speaking of the Champions League, let's see where that leaves us as we are in 7th place. So yeah, I think we will need a win on the final day. A credible point against Liverpool, but with all those teams below us, I think we will need a win, or at least a draw. I think a win in match day 8 against Benfica. But before we get there, sandwiched in between a big game in La Liga, Seville derby, our last one of the save, I believe, as we travel to the Villamarín to take on Pellegrini's side. Big game against our rivals as we look to extend the gap at the top. Vamos Sevilla. Enzo, danger here. Enzo, lovely ball. Strike comes in. Gregor tips it over the top. And as we head into the second half of the season, every game is huge, and still undefeated, of course. I'm not really thinking about the invincible season. I have done it before in a career mode save. I think once or maybe twice on this channel. But yeah, I'm not really thinking about it too much at the moment. Just looking to get the wins as and when they come, and that might come for Aymar Aroz. Brilliant, and it's kept out and off the line, and Batiste survived for now. It's back with Amin Gouiri, shot blocked, and that should be them in the clear. Should be. Lovely football Benyat couldn't get it back to Amin. Oh, it's off the line again. And finally, Batiste clear. Gavi wins the header all day long. That's his. Now Yasser to Gavi. Lovely. Aymar hasn't got many in the league this season. In fact, that may well be his first. But with PK down injured at the moment, I need him to step up and carry his form from the Champions League into La Liga as well. And that is exactly what he's done here. Brilliant ball by Gavi. Aymar finishes the move off. And Sevilla lead. Still leading by just that single goal. And I would like a second just to wrap things up as Amin does well, finds Biner. Amin holds his run on the edge. Amin lets fly, and the keeper didn't even see it as it flew into the back of the net. Well, there is our second goal. Amin Gouiri has it, and with 20 to play now, that should be enough to see us back to the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan with all 3 points against our rivals. And yet there is the whistle, and we saw the game out pretty comfortably after we got the second from Amin Gouiri. Real Betis will be glad to see the back of me at the end of this season, because I have haunted them throughout the course of this save. They've had a few victories against us, but in our final great derby of the save, it will be Sevilla claiming all 3 points. Amin Gouiri on the score sheet again. I believe that is his 18th of the season. He's slightly off the pace for another 40 goal haul, but there's every chance he could do it. I've never had somebody do it twice, and Amin Gouiri certainly has the chance. But let's jump into our next game. It is that final league phase game of the campaign, the one I discussed earlier on, taking on Benfica back home at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan, as we look to ensure a top 8 finish with a final 3 points. Vamos Sevilla. Yeah, hoping we can get the win here today that will secure a top 8 finish. A point might be enough, but it probably won't be, looking at the standings as Romero clips the post. I've still made quite a few changes for this one, and in the rain there's every chance for a literal and metaphorical slip up, but I'm hoping we've got enough to get the job done today. Herrera picks out Barrero. Oh, nice football, and Benfica take the lead. Lovely little ball inside, and it's Arthur Cabral with the finish, and that is not part of the plan. Well, not long to play, and at this rate we'll be lucky to get a point out of this, as Aroz is onside. Can he get away? Aymar Aroz, there's the goal. 20 to play. Can we find a winner? I'm not sure a point is going to be enough. Biner forward to Amin, and there's Aroz, and Amin back to Aroz. Can he get there? Aroz! Wonderful finish, and single-handedly Aymar has turned the game around. Mr. Champions League, he loves this competition, and the subs have paid off. But it's one of the men that started the game that scores the 2 goals and looks to have sent us through to the last 16. Well, this is it, and there is the whistle, and Sevilla, from a goal down, managed to fight back with 2 late goals to secure a top 8 finish and take us directly through to the last 16. Was a bit nervy with 25 to play, and even a point I don't think would have been enough, but that man Aymar Aroz does enough to send us through to the final 8. Let's go and take a look at those final standings. Well, there are the final standings, and I think actually a point would have been enough in the end. We would have been on 15 points with a superior goal difference to PSG. Barcelona, Lyon, Napoli all finishing on 14. So yeah, we would have actually been fine, but we weren't to know that. We weren't to know that. So getting the win was necessary for our well-being. But let's jump straight into our next game, returning back to matters in the league. Gonna start picking up the pace a bit more now as we take on CD Leganés at home at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan. 18 games to play, 6 points clear of Barcelona, and still undefeated in the league with just 5 goals conceded. Let's see if we can keep it going here. Vamos Sevilla. Very wet, rainy conditions for this one here, so although it's a favourable fixture, The conditions are going to make this tough as Amin Gouiri gets a bit lucky. There's Prado, should have scored. Amin will on the rebound. And it's a fast start from Sevilla and Amin Gouiri, who again is on the score sheet for Sevilla. Gavi finds Amin. He's got runners ahead of him. One of those is Benyat, who should have scored a moment ago. Finds Amin Gouiri. Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And he is having a fantastic time out there. Not quite as good as Mbappe in the previous episode if you saw that goal, but still a wonderful piece of technique as he doubles his and our advantage just 8 minutes into today's game. Well, we're into the second half here, and I'm sure Amin Gouiri will be after that hat-trick to claim the match ball, especially after how quickly he got the first two. He'll be wanting to get that third. And there might be a chance for him here. Amin Gouiri, it is 3. He's just so clinical in front of goal. It is another match ball for the Algerian. And for Sevilla, it will be 3 points in the bag here at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan. Well, it is all over, and there is the match ball for Amin Gouiri. Another fantastic display from the Algerian, and he remains the top scorer in the league as he looks to push us to our first league title since the 1940s. Tough game up next, though, as we travel to Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. We've had a mixed bag of results against them in the past, but I'm hoping for a positive one here to extend our lead at the top. Vamos Sevilla. Yeah, big game this. I'd say Atleti are still just about in the title race, but a win for us here will mean they've got a huge amount of ground to make up, and that's beautifully worked. Oh, and it couldn't quite pick out Amin in the middle, but yeah, if we get the win here, then we are going to have a big lead over Simeone's side, and with the way we've been going, I don't see them making that gap up. Oh, that's nicely worked. Brilliant feet. Oh, good save. Oh, no, can't lose it there, Vardy. And now go down injured. Oh, not another injury, and that's a bad one as well. Loic Bardet going down, and he's going to need the stretcher as well. Either a 2-month or a 7-month ACL, but either way, this is not good for the skip. I should say, really, the vice skipper that's a good save by Gregor Cabell. Of course, Djibril Sow is still the club captain, but doesn't feature as much, and when he's not in the lineup, it is Loic Bardet who takes the armband. But a bit of a poor way to get injured, really, losing the ball in a dangerous position, nearly conceding a goal, and now being stretchered off the pitch as well. What a run. What a run by Mario Gila. Oh, and he's got there. Gila! Oh, what a goal! He loves a marauding run forward. Normally they don't result in goals, but he gets there before Josko Gvardiol, and he fires it into the bottom corner before Oblak can even react. And the unlikeliest of goal scorers, but Sevilla lead. Oh, Jamie Bino-Gittins turning on the afterburners. Sanchez trying to keep up with him. It's great work. Oh, and a brilliant reverse ball. What a block. What a block by the man of the moment, Mario Gila. He is just everywhere, scoring down one end and goal-saving blocks down the other. Well, just under 20 to play, still leading by 1, and Atleti starting to put some pressure on as they hunt an equalising goal, but we've been able to stand firm for now as Ravella finds Conor Gallagher out wide on the right. Swings a beautiful cross in. Sanchez does well at the back post, and it will be a goal kick. 13 to play. Can we grind it out and see out another victory by a goal to nil? Well, there's not going to be an Atletico Madrid fight back as it's all over here at the Metropolitano. Not Amin Gouiri's day, but it's Mario Gila, an unlikely hero with the winning goal and an almighty defensive performance. Some great blocks, great tackles, and just overall commanding display from the Spaniard. Another closeout 1-0 victory for Sevilla and another win closer to the title. Still a long way to go, go, but that's a big victory against one of our rivals. So we'll jump straight into our next game, travelling to Las Palmas in Gran Canaria. We're a bit of a bogey team of ours, but we've conquered them the more we've played them throughout the course of the save, but I'm still expecting a tough game. Vamos, Sevilla. Yeah, that was a huge test against Atletico Madrid, and one that we passed with a brilliant defensive display, but it was at a cost, as you would have seen heading into this game. Loic Bardet done for the remainder of the campaign, a 7-month layoff for the Frenchman, and that's going to be a huge blow between now and the end of the season. We've got some decent backups, don't get me wrong, but nobody at the level of Loic Bardet. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we cope without him heading into the Champions League knockouts and the remainder of the La Liga campaign. Prados forward for Aymar, lovely ball. Aroz to Prados, lovely strike, and he's back amongst the goals. It's been a little while for Beñat, but we know he does like to get forward and get involved in the attacking play as well. I was tempted to move him back to centre-back and bring in someone like Djibril Sow or a Goume, but he's so good going forward. It feels like a waste to have him at centre-back on the score sheet today, and Sevilla lead again. Here come Las Palmas, but Kike does well, to be fair to him. Stepping in today and doing a good job so far. I mean, there's Biner with him. Lovely football. And Aroz finds Amin. Should be two. Amin Gouiri, there it is. And it actually comes from a fantastic piece of defending by Kike Salas, who steps in today for the injured Loic Bardet, starting the move off by winning the ball back, and it's Amin who rounds it off with a fantastic finish. And yep, there is the whistle, and it does end up being another pretty comfortable win for Sevilla, as we are just steamrolling our way to this championship. But in typical fashion, Barcelona and Real Madrid are not going anywhere, and they keep sticking with us despite how good we have been this season. Beñat, Prados and Amin Gouiri with the goals here today in Gran Canaria, and we will jump straight into our next game, which sees us return back home to the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan as we take on Getafe, who have caused us some issues in League and Cup this season, looking for another win. Vamos, Sevilla. Second half just getting underway here in Seville. Not been a great game so far, and I believe after this one we should find out who it is we will face in the Champions League last 16. So after this we'll head back to the menu to find out who it is we're going to take on, and then we should have one final La Liga fixture before that two-legged affair rolls around, as Amin is denied. Amin finds Aymar. Can we get it back to Amin? It's brilliant, and this should be the goal. Amin Gouiri does not miss those. Been waiting for our moment, and finally it's come, and it's come to the right man as well. Amin Gouiri on target again. Lovely hold up and assist by Aymar Aroz, and Sevilla finally have their breakthrough. Pavlidis, lovely ball. Abdallah Sima, Morrow shoots, and Healer in the way again. He was man of the match against Atletico Madrid, and more great defensive work there from him, as it's another clean sheet and another grind out victory for Sevilla as we edge ever closer to lifting that La Liga title. Still a long way to go. I'm not taking anything for granted, but the form we've been on, it only looks like there's going to be one winner. Let's head back to the menu and find out who it's going to be in the Champions League last 16 before we close out the episode with Espanyol. Well, I've simmed all the way through to our next clash against Espanyol. I haven't seen anything in the news about potential opponents, but let's find out who it's going to be in the Champions League last 16, where Sevilla have been pitted against Monaco. Okay, I fancy our chances of getting through that. Some big sides still left in the competition. PSG, Man City, Real Madrid. No Barcelona in there is interesting. Liverpool, Bayern Munich, But yeah, I'm quite happy with that draw. AS Monaco. I'm sure it'll be a tough two-legged affair, but I fancy our chances of getting through that and reaching the quarterfinals. So that'll come in the next episode. But to close out today, matchday 25 against RCD Espanyol. Currently sat second from bottom and desperate for points at the bottom to keep themselves in the division. For us, looking for a big 3 points to close out with. Vamos Sevilla. So Monaco to come in the last 16 of the Champions League in the next episode, and I am feeling pretty confident that we can get through that. I think with the squad that we've got, and we've also built up a nice lead at the top of La Liga. So I know going into those knockout games that I can rotate at the weekends and play my strongest team in the Champions League. So got to make sure we get the win here to keep building on that lead we've got at the top, because we know that Barcelona and Real Madrid are not going to go anywhere. Still they have it. Bodies on the edge. That's a beautiful ball. That's a spot kick right at the end of the first half. And I'm not sure why I've even made the challenge, because Gregor's made the stop. And it's needless from Kike. Esposito sends Gregor the wrong way. And Espanyol take a shock lead just before the break. Well, where on earth has that come from? I feel like every time we've come forward, we've been on the periphery of scoring. Oh, it's a free header. Oh, it should be two. It should be two. We just haven't been able to find the net. We've been in control, but just without being able to score. It's a weird game. And there might still be one final chance for us to get something out of this. As a Roz finds Amin. And Prados. And Amin, there is our goal. 8 minutes to play. Can we find a winning goal? I don't want to end on a 1-1 draw against second from bottom. Gavi finds Amin, and there is the whistle. Well, it's our first real disappointing result in a while in La Liga, and that will just give Real Madrid and Barcelona a little glimmer of hope as we suffer a 1-1 draw here against Espanyol. It is not a defeat, so we still remain unbeaten, but that will give the teams below us just a little glimmer, as I say, that they can get back into this title race. But that is where we will leave it for today's episode, guys. We'll be back in the next episode for more big games in La Liga and that Champions League last 16 two-legged affair against Monaco to come as well. I'll catch you in the next episode very soon, guys. Take care and peace.